and Honorable Sam Atandi. Let me start with you, Honorable Atandi, as a member of Parliament. Your argument earlier on, as you're going through the newspaper review, is that simply because the money has not hit your account, you would not want to debate on that. I think Kenyans might feel that would be a very simplistic justification. And I think the key thing here is not whether the money has hit your account or not. The key thing is, are members of Parliament giving Kenyans value for the money that they're being paid? Currently, members of Parliament are Kenyan members of Parliament are one of the highest paid members of Parliament. Yet Kenyans are also one of the highest taxes. In terms of taxes, we pay the highest taxes. So the question here is not so much whether the money has hit your account or not, but what value are members of Parliament giving Kenyans for their money?
Well, unless you're saying that you do not regard the institution of Parliament as something that needs to be in our constitution, then your question would really be out of order.
No, it's not that we don't value it, but the question is value for money. Members of Parliament are being paid to address certain issues, to be legislators, to oversight. That's what Kenyans are expected. Yet, every so often, we see another package added to the members of Parliament, regardless of the economy that we have right now. We had Labour Day the other day, a very disappointing Labour Day to the Kenyan worker. Why? Because even the minimum wage was not possible to be added simply because of our economy. Why is it that members of Parliament seem to be the ones enjoying?
I think, as I explained before, I do not consider members of Parliament to be highly paid. Considering the structure of our politics. Today you probably see that every weekend, and we castigate some members of Parliament who accompany other leaders for stipends, you know. These are facts, you know. So the truth of the matter is that, in my view, members of Parliament are not well remunerated.
They're not highly paid.
Yes,
despite earning about $1 million shillings per month, that's not highly paid.
Because that money is not cash. So that money does not belong to them. That money belongs.
Who does it belong to?
That money belongs to the people they represent.
How does it belong to the people they represent? It's a salary paid to you.
It is paid to me, but all Kenyans know that when you have a financial problem, you go to a member of Parliament. You don't go to your cabinet secretary.
Okay, so what you're saying...
So this money, actually, if you ask me from my experience, this money does not even go to members of Parliament. The members of Parliament use this money on their voters.
Okay, and that right there, I think, becomes a big problem, because if that is true, then what happens, or what you're telling us, is that as legislators, you're not putting structures in place, and the electorate has to depend on you, which is a wrong structure completely. We'll never get out of that cycle.
And that's why we're making noise about some of this display of opulence by leaders. A deputy president, for instance, who is supposed to in charge of national resources, supposed to even ensure government builds schools, chooses to go and do Arambi in that school, you know, as instead of ensuring that as a government, you know, there's appropriation for all the infrastructure in all the schools.
All right, Doctor, let me...
I think the model of our politics is where we have an issue. Because you see, where that church wants money to promote gospel, and this money is not being factored in.
But Mheshimiwa, how can you as a member of Parliament
this money must come, and Weda knows very well that if their church wants money, they will invite me, or they will invite somebody with money.
So the model of politics is wrong. Allow me to bring in Dr. Iraki.
Let me try and be an honest broker, because my neighbor here is saying that the money they get is not theirs. It is shared with the constituents.
Yes.
To a large extent, that is true, because you have Harambes, bursaries, and so on. But when I look at our government structure nowadays, we have a lot of devolution. We have CDF and other devolved funds. I thought that is the money that is supposed to take care of the needs of your constituents, whether it is Harambe, whether it is medical problem, and so on. So then how does the issue of your money being shared with your voters come in? Personally, I have never shared any money with my MP. So I don't understand what he means when he says that he shares that money with his voters and so on. Unless you share the money with the voters with some vested interest. Because when you go for Harambes and so on, those are ways to sell yourself, to sell your policies, to show people that you are working. But I want us to reach a stage where everybody is fair in terms of the work he has done and what he has paid. I'm very sure from where I sit, I work harder than an MP. There's no question about it. But I'm paid less than them. So can we have a case where people are paid because of the work they do, not because they talk more or because they have power or because they can change roles? I want fairness in this country.
All right. Let me come to you, Ambrose Weda, and maybe to be fair to the members of parliament, it is, we know that Kenyan politics and the way things run, we do have the electorate looking up to the members of parliament to help them. You mentioned yourself here that if, for instance, in your church, you needed some extra money and there's a generous politician who's willing to do that, you'll call him.
Yes.
So maybe we are part of the problem as Kenyans, because the minute we involve them in that, then what price are we paying for them to participate in some of those harambees?
I think we'll call them, and I think if you are earning 1 million shillings and you are given 20 million shillings to buy a house and you are given a 4-wheel drive car, if you are generous like my brother, we will call you. Why the churches actually call these people is because the same generous people have refused to give tithe, which is 10%. If they were just giving 10% as required, there will be no need for any harambe. It is their dishonesty that is creating deficits. What the members of parliament are doing today is they fail to oversight, they fail to allocate monies such that the executive are not able to render services enough that would eliminate harambes and handouts and so on. And they also want to perpetuate themselves on the seat. They want to go 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. So what do? They buy people. They give out corruption. And since they also don't have unlimited supply of money, they now go into our kitty. And they condemn Saraserem and they condemn everyone and they go behind the constitution and they pick our money. Their Rambe system was very good. Still remains very good. It is only when you want to outshine people that you go beyond your limit, then you get extra like this. Otherwise, what the members of parliament are doing today is very, very bad. It is the only part where you find somebody has a big job in the private sector, earning millions, and he abandons it, pretending, oh, I want to serve my people, I love them so much. There they go. You find others there in their usual ordinary life. They are living somewhere down in Dandora. I'm not saying Dandora is bad. Their best limousine has been a Vitz, and they have been fine. And their children have been going to Dandora primary school, which is not bad. But the day they become MPs, they ask whether there is a V10. They don't want V8. They move to the other side. Some are going to Runda. Some are taking their children to Brook this or Brook that. The question is it them who are benefiting, or are they the ones who are serving the people? So it is theft that is making.
All right. Honorable Atandi says that 1 million shillings and maybe
Petty
that's
cash.
give or take is petty cash, mainly because of the electorate, mainly because of the electorate, and this becomes now an issue that we have in Kenya, challenge, Weda.
Yes.
And the question is, what are your thoughts on the structure that we have of politics, where politicians have to participate in everything other than doing what they actually elected to do?
I think this thing they participate is an excuse. The reason is the ones who have been elected and are taking this money and purporting to give it to the people, quite a number of them are normally being defeated by ordinary people. You saw a member of parliament who didn't have a vehicle, the one that the president gave a vehicle from him. He didn't have the millions to give people. People were just fed up with the so-called handouts and the millionaires because there was no service. So let's not blame people. It is us who are trying to perpetuate ourselves in their minds by using money. Nobody will ask you for money to go and do whatever. They'll tell you, we are doing this church, we are calling an harambe on this day, please come. You plan, you give your share, like everybody else. We are doing this school, please come. Now, the others who want to outshine are the ones now who pick money. Then they say it is justified for them to receive extra. Otherwise, those who are elected would stay permanently because they are giving people. How comes 60% of them are normally thrown out? And I'll pray that my brother Tand is still young. He's not thrown out next time. But it's not the money. It is not the people. You don't serve, you're out.
How do we fix the structural issues that we have in our politics? Because if, like you say, the reason why the money that you're paid is not enough, quote unquote, of course Kenyans would differ with that in many ways, is because you have to participate in fundraising. The thing is, you're there to represent, to oversight, and to legislate. Part of your representation mandate is to ensure that there are structures in place. For instance, if it's schools, they are functioning to where residents in your area are able to access those schools. If it's medicine, they are able to access at least affordable health care. Now, if you keep stepping in and keep helping them in funerals and all that, then you're not helping.
I think what we need
in the long term.
I think there are two things we need to change. We need to change how MPs are elected. And I've argued that we need to go the model of the political parties, where the political parties that are elected and they're the ones who can now nominate the person they think can represent the electorate. This model of everybody going to the public to look for votes directly is not working, in my view. Two, we also need to address the fundamental question of corruption, because a lot of resources are being spent, are being abused. And if you look at the figures each and every day, we are talking about figures of resources that have been stolen. If these resources were used very well, Kenyans will not be asking anything from anybody, you know. So I think there's wastages in government, and I think we need to elect a clean government in future. Whether please join us in our movement so that we can, in 2020, we can have a government that can work for the people of Kenya. Okay. Because it is government that works for the people, not individuals, actually.
Dr. Iraqi.
I don't think I agree with him that we need to change the way we elect our MPs and representatives. I think the method as it is very good enough, because you go and sell your ideas and your policies, and then based on that we can vote. The problem, in my opinion, why we are where we are, is because of our constitution. The constitution assumed that the voters will hold their leaders to account. I'll give you a good example. You have a county presenting a budget. The voters are supposed to come and critique it and listen and be consulted. But do they turn up? So the voters, once they vote you in, they sit and watch you. So unless we empower the voters so that they can hold their leaders to accountable, they can demand, we have given you this money. Can you show us what you have done with it? But as long as voters are passive, you give them a few sharings, they are very quiet, whether it is Ruha Harambe or whatever. So if we have to change the system, it is to change the way the voter thinks. Because voters think that the money they are given by their MPs or whoever gives them is free money. It's not free money, it is their money, it is taxes. So change the voter, the system will change.
All right. Whether do you think that we need to change the system? We have an 80% turnover of members of parliament every 5 years. So it seems like the problem may not be the individuals per se, but there is a structural problem. Because if we change them that often, but we still have the same problem, then it's not the individuals.
I think my brother is advocating for a club where they go and buy party tickets and then they run. That's the way they have done it. And that's why people are angry, because they don't elect leaders. They elect party or tribe. They say, are you with us? Are you either in Jubilee or you are in ODM? Then they elect, they vote for the party. Then later on they wake up and they realize, oh, Atandi has emerged to be the leader. So next time, they push them out. So the question, the voter should stop voting like a mad human being for a party or a tribe. Our tribe, as these are voting this way. Our tribe, our party is this. Let them look at leaders. Let somebody come, sell his manifesto. They look at him, they know him, and they say, this one we can hope to get this and this services. Then that is the change. If you look at before the multi-party system, we used to have very strong leaders. We used to have very good leaders. But when now the bandwagon of the parties came, then you see some leaders who are only speak in funerals. When they go to parliament, they are nowhere. They can't even raise their hands. They are always in the toilet. But outside in the funeral, we are defending, because it is about tickets. Let us change the mentality, the heart.
Whether you are contradicting yourself, because
to change position.
My prescription would ensure that somebody like Kweda is in parliament. Because Weda has tried to be in parliament using that system, and he has failed. And we know he's a brilliant guy. If he goes to parliament, he can advocate.
Just imagine if I was elected.
He can. In fact, using my system, you can actually be. You can actually be a member of parliament, because we would say for the people of Seme and our party, we think Weda is the most brilliant person to go to parliament, and we will make you a member of parliament. Right now, you have been defeated by people who have not gone to school.
And Honorable Atandi, then that would be assuming that we have parties that are able to even hold their elections, which is not. We've seen that is not the case.
You see, parties are clubs, and
actually they're special purpose vehicles.
Yes.
They're maybe designed just to get to parliament.
If there are 5 people who want to become member of parliament for Kisumu, for instance, the party will look at their history, their educational background, their capability, and then we'll get the best person who can debate and think for Kenya. But you see, the method we have now, somebody will come from somewhere with money, even if they don't even know how to write their names, and they will be elected. So what we are saying is that if we are going to cure this thing, then we must change the way we are electing leaders.
Okay.
Because right now, anybody can be a member of parliament.
Absolutely.
Anybody can be a governor. Look at Nairobi now. Look at the governor we have. Simply because we had a system where somebody can be elected. Now, if we change our system, the political party, ODM will say our governor